The countdown clock has been an integral part of my marketing work for artists over the years. I recall developing clocks for Coheed and Cambria, Guns N' Roses, Foo Fighters, Megadeth, Trivium, The Sword, Slipknot, and Ghost. It's a great example of UX because your users understand it instantly, get excited, and are provided a time at which to return for a special announcement. Paired with an email capture, it is unstoppable. Let's use the JavaScript framework Vue and modern datetime library Luxon to create a simple countdown clock in CodePen. Let's first include Vue.js by clicking the gear next to JS and searching for Vue. We'll then add a main element to our HTML with the ID of clock. Finally, we can initialize a Vue instance in our JavaScript. Nice. Now let's add Luxon. This library will make handling JavaScript dates and durations much easier and preserve years of your life. I especially like that it comes with time zone support out of the box, which is crucial for artist announcements. Grab the CDN link from Luxon's site and drop it next to the Vue include by clicking the gear next to JS once again. Now that we've included both Vue and Luxon, we can begin creating a clock at the current time. Add the semantically friendly time element to your HTML and include a reference to now within it. The double curly braces tell Vue to insert the data property into the view. Let's declare that property using Luxon's datetime feature. Luxon's datetime local method will return the current date and time of the user. Since we've included the now property in the view, you can see my New Orleans date and time. However, the date time does not update and instead stays static. In order to update the current time, we'll use a set interval method to update the now property every couple of milliseconds. This method should be called once when our view instance is loaded, so we'll add it to the mounted life cycle hook. Nice. Your now data property will be updated every 100 milliseconds. Before we move on, let's add a data property called tick to our app and add it as a reference to our set interval method. Now we'll have a reference to our interval, which we can use to stop it once our countdown is complete. We can now add a data property which defines the time our countdown is counting down to. We'll call it end, and like now, declare it with the datetime local method. We can then use Luxon's plus method to transform the local time into a point in the future. For the sake of debugging, let's add 10 seconds so our clock is always counting down from 10 seconds. Now that we have the current and ending times, we can compute the remaining time which should be displayed on our countdown. We'll do this by declaring a Vue computed property. Computed properties are great because they will reevaluate based on their dependencies, which in our case is every time the current time changes. The property itself will use Luxon's diff method to get the difference between the two times in milliseconds. You can then change now in your app's HTML to remaining to display a real-time object of your clock's remaining milliseconds. Ooh, you're close now. Instead of a data object, it would be nice if our countdown was formatted to look like a digital clock with 2 digits for hours, minutes, and seconds separated by colons. We can do this by creating another computed property called display, which converts the remaining data object into a Luxon duration and then uses its toFormat method to specify the formatting we want. Now just swap remaining in your view to display, and you should see your countdown clock. If you let the countdown clock tick down, you'll notice that it does not stop at 0 and instead continues counting into negative digits. In order to prevent this, we'll need to stop the running interval once our countdown finishes. Let's add another computed property called finish, which returns true if the current time is greater than the end time. Now you could use this property right in the set interval method, but I prefer to use a view watcher, which is a special property which reacts to data changes. In our case, the change of the current time. So if the countdown is finished, we'll use a clear interval method to clear our tick interval. Here's what that looks like. Now your clock should stop when it reaches 0. Bummer. Looks like it stopped, but not until it ticked to -1 seconds. This happens because the now and ending times we're setting with Luxon don't start at exactly 0 milliseconds. Depending on your visual, this can cause some issues. In the case of our 6-digit countdown clock, we could simply use the minus method to subtract a second from our finished computer property. However, it may make more sense to solve the actual problem by setting each local declaration to 0 milliseconds. Let's try that. Now before we jump into CSS, let's update our HTML to replace the countdown clock with a message once it is finished. To do this, we'll use a conditionally rendered set of template tags. Congratulations! You've built a countdown clock with Vue and Luxon. You can now style the countdown to your liking with some CSS. I went ahead and found a futuristic typeface called Orbitron on Google Fonts, which I'll import alongside a few basic styles. But first, let's remove any existing browser styles. Now we can add in our basic CSS. These few lines of CSS give us a responsively styled red countdown, which is centered on a black page. Nice work! I hope you now have a better understanding of how Vue and Luxon can be used to create a simple countdown clock engine. If you want to go a bit deeper into this topic, check out the Medium post in the description where I expand on this example and cover the visualization of elapsed time. If you want to see more screencasts like this, please click subscribe. Thank you for watching.